I help people feel better. I help people do more in their lives. And I help people live better lives.
Passion, as we say, is that fuel that enable you to jump through hoops with flames of fire, jump rope and chew gum at the same time. Passion is fuel, the purpose to enable you to cross the finish line or to finish what you start.
Focus on the end result that you want. What if I could feel better today? Even if you don't have, if you just ask the questions, what if I can feel better today?
You take hope and perseverance and you put that together. At the end of the day, it's going to be a success story.
Anybody, right? I mean, anybody can literally achieve the dream of home ownership in a 5-year plan, right? It starts today.
Attack the immediate tasks before you. And when I speak of attacking, what I'm trying to get you to consider is the idea that we need to take action.
So when you're not feeling good, you simply note it and know that you're focused on what you don't want, and you get to choose. You can be intentional, choose what do you want to focus on.
And so the word no is one of the most important words you can ever say, and yet it's so hard. If I say no to you, I am literally affirming myself. I'm giving myself permission to do me.
I'm saying the answers you need are within you, not without you. But you have to do what each one of the speakers have been asking you to do. Trust yourself.
The next speaker that I'm going to bring to you is actually a really good friend of mine as well. We met in Boston. Andrele, get ready, because I'm talking about you, coach. She was my trainer. Years before, I used to work with parents and teenagers only. And I just was all over every training that had to do with parents and teenagers. So that experience and expertise is still right here in my head and heart. But Andrele Charles, who you'll be hearing from next, was a trainer that I attended a training, a certificate training for parenting trainers, parenting, what was it? Something, I can't remember now, parenting trainers. You're gonna have to correct me. But it was a whole week of training, and I love training as well. At that point, I was in private practice, which now I'm in private practice, but I'm now a trainer and a speaker as well. But at that time, I was an ambitious trainer. I wanted to train, I wanted to do trainings, and she just moved with grace, and she had all these PowerPoints, and she had all these workbooks, and I kept saying, I want to be exactly like this lady. And just like STEM would do, which my coach, I think I saw my coach there, because I do have a coach. It's really helpful to have a coach. I have a coach, Sasha Zeberg, who's also, I hope I pronounce it right, for years. We've been, she's been coaching me for years. She's like, you don't pronounce my name right. But I remember saying to Andrele, I want to be a trainer just like you. So I wanted to put that out there, Andrele, to say you are my mentor as well, because I do my coaching and enjoy it just the way that you enjoyed it years ago when I attended your training. Upon graduating with her marriage and family therapist master's degree, Andrele has worked with youth, couples, and families for over a decade, helping both individuals and families understand the system that impacts and engages each of them in communication barriers, conflict resolution, and unhealthy coping strategies. Recognizing that it is what happens in relationship rather than only focusing on the problem cycle, the problem person in the cycle. She's a life coach who continues to use her therapeutic skills as she works with individuals set personal and professional goals. Andrele lives in Charlotte, North Carolina with her husband, her son, and her daughter. She enjoys reading, interactive conversations, and spending time in the community. I am so excited to welcome the host of the podcast, Heart of the Matter. Andrele, welcome to the stage.
That was phenomenal. You make me sound all serious and stuff. Thank you so much, Dr. Stem, for even following through on your heart and actually doing this. I think we have a lot of dreams, we have a lot of ideas, but the thought and bringing it into action is where a lot of times we falter. And I want to commend you for not doing that and actually moving and creating this platform for us to have this moment of encouragement. I've been jotting down notes. I'm a note taker. I love note taking. So I've been writing down, Dr. Reese, purpose and passion equals abundant life, and Jennifer Sutton. I mean, the idea of reframing my mind and being more curious, and instead of having these negative beliefs that are definitive in how we think, or just Jay Lucky, just so many amazing things. I'm excited even to hear the rest. And so today I wanted to come and share about how we already have everything we need. We've been listening and getting motivated and encouraged. And, there's this thing that happens when you're in this type of a setting. You get all pumped up, right? You get all brought up to the top, and then you get home and you're like, wait, I don't got this. I don't got that. I can't do that, right? So all that motivation that brought us up, propelled us to this place of let's get this done. All of a sudden now we're falling down because we think we don't got everything we need. And I'm here to tell you today, that is not going to happen after this seminar. You are going to leave this and you are not going to tell yourself you can't. You are actually going to move on these purposes and passions that we are trying to poke and nudge into reality. And so I always like, my approach is often, let's look at the root. Let's understand why there's an issue in order for us to get a better grasp on how to shift, right? And so let's talk a bit about why it is hard for us to believe that we are already equipped with everything we need. I'm going to say a few things. Feel free to note and feel free to speak up. I love interaction. I'm much more of a conversationalist, so feel free to pipe up if you have any thoughts as well. Well, one of the first things that came to mind as I was reflecting on why it's hard for us to believe we already have everything we need to move forward on our passions is that we have constructed a narrative about how it must look for others who are already where we want to be. So we look at all these people, we look at the Oprahs, we look at the Michelle Obamas, we look at the Lisa Nichols, we look at all these people and think, well, they have assistants and they have all these resources. Of course they can do all these things. What we fail to realize or even consider is before they got to where they are now, they started where we are. They had to move with what they had and build from there. So they didn't come out. Oh, I promise you, Oprah did not come out with a silver spoon in her mouth. We all know that. Mississippi and timing, of course, but her action is what brought her to where she is today, right? Second thing, we dismiss the resources that we have readily available to us. We minimize our support system. We minimize our family. We minimize our friends. We minimize the systems. Zoom is available to us right now. There's a time where you had to pay for all these things, but we have all these resources available to us online that can help us build and move on what it is that's before us. But hey, if we don't have an assistant to do it for us, we ain't got it, right? So we're minimizing everything that's already laid out and available to us. Another thing we do is we look at the mountain before us and forget that it takes numerous steps to get to the top. We want the mountaintop without the steps in between. If we would pull back and just stop and think, hey, one step will get me closer to my desired goal, how much would we even be able to accomplish it? Because right now we're just looking at the top and daydreaming and believing, ooh, this is gorgeous, but we forget that just one step will get me closer to that. And it's not always about leaps and bounds. I think we have this misconception that we need to run a mile to be able to get to our goal. Sometimes it's just that one step. Today it's one step and tomorrow maybe 10. But those steps is what will take us towards the mountaintop we're trying to get to. The next thing, and the biggest thing, in my opinion, is belief. It's hard to believe that the dreams and secret hopes that we carry could really come to be. I've heard somebody say it once before. A goal without a plan is just a dream. Dreams are lovely. Who doesn't love to dream? For me, when I think of dream, that means I'm in my bed, I'm all cozy, and as long as it's not a nightmare, it's a dream. But Goals aren't just dreams. Goals aren't just the visions and the insight that we've been given to try to work on something. Goals come with plans. So unless you have that, maybe the belief system that you need that will help you move forward on these visions and goals you have is what's preventing you from moving forward on what you need to do. And I want to challenge you. Marianne Williamson wrote an amazing book years and years ago. I may be dating myself. And she asked the question, what is our greatest fear? And the answer was, our greatest fear is that it's not that we are, it escapes me, I should have jotted down. But she speaks of the reality that we are maybe undermining ourselves and don't realize our greatness. I'll find it and I'll put out the quote shortly. But she said, it's not that we are incapable, but we are more capable and we are more powerful than we believe. And if we could switch and shift, just like Jennifer was saying, that switching and shifting, that ability to move our minds away from the thinking patterns that just keep us stuck, and really grab a hold of that thing that I believe is divine. I don't believe everybody has a vision that is connected to a purpose that has been given to you. So there's a reason why Dr. Stem doesn't have the same passions I have and Dr. Ruiz doesn't have the same. We have each been given a mandate. It's divine. It's an imprint. It's a fingerprint that is unique to you. Right? And so if you can connect with that and accept and believe that this is yours to carry and that no one can do it better than you, what could you do when you actually move forward? So I like to, I'm huge on just acronyms to try to help me stick and stay focused on certain things. And so I wanted to share with you guys an acronym that I think will help us fight back the urge to run away from what is before us and what we're trying to do, okay? So we talked about having everything you need. So when your voice, that pesky voice, we have a good voice, we got a beautiful voice that sounds like Jean Ann and all them, and Sister Stila, I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong, but we have a beautiful voice like that, but we also have the negative voice that tries to tell us otherwise. And so I wanna give you guys an acronym that maybe will stick with you so you can challenge yourself to not get sucked into it. So my acronym is the word stay, okay? So stay, if we look at S stands for scale back and focus on your current step. Have you ever stood in front of a picture or a portrait and stuck your nose right in it? How much can you see of the portrait? You can only see that specific dot you're standing in front of. But the moment you step back, now you're seeing a bigger picture and you have a clearer image of what's in front of you. We have these big dreams. It's almost like, and God isn't teasing us when he gives us these visions. I think he opens our minds up to what could be to entice us, to get us moving. So we're not meant to get stuck in the grandeur of the picture. So if we can step back, we're able to maybe consider the one thing we can do that can help us get closer to the creation of that image that we've had in our mind. So I want you to scale back, pull back from the images you have in front of you and quit zeroing in on that one thing that you may not have in this season and focus on the bigger picture and consider tackling it from a different angle. So scale back. The T stands for target. Target the best next step for you to take with your current resources. And that is key to being able to move forward. So if we're targeting and we're zeroing in on one task, now all of a sudden the things we don't have, one, we're giving them time to even gestate and manifest for us, because I believe if you've been given a vision, you'll be given provision to get it done, right? And so if we target and focus on that next step that we have before you, we don't want to worry about 10 steps down the line. We want to focus on that next step in front of you in order to move forward, right? So I'm going to use baking as an analogy. I'm a baker. I don't cook. My husband can cook. He's the guy, a little bit of salt, a little bit of, I can't do that. And I'm no longer guilting myself to not be the woman who can cook like that, but I can bake. I can bake. I can tell you that when I bake, I have never thrown flour into the pan, thrown eggs on top of it and the milk, and then put it in the oven. I've actually had to follow steps in a sequential order in order to create the batter needed in order to put it in the oven and then create the cake I'm looking to bake. There are steps that we need to take. We cannot just try to just throw everything into a dish and think it will give us the results we're looking for. We need to follow the steps. And so target that next step you need to do. If it's measuring the flour, measure the flour, then measure your sugar. And then you're going to mix your wets all together. Follow the steps. You'll be amazed at the result. And that's the beauty. While I think I'll never be a cook like my husband, I promise you, everybody can become a baker if you wanted to. Next thing for A, attack. Attack the immediate tasks before you. And when I speak of attacking, what I'm trying to get you to consider is the idea that we need to take action. And same as what I was mentioning earlier, the idea that we have these dreams, but we are not taking steps or doing the concrete piece that would help those dreams manifest. We need to attack and take action in order for us to be able to start creating what was put in us. So I do believe that we were created in the image of God. And if we were created in his image, we have some of his skills, which is creative. And so when we have these ideas and these visions in our minds, it wasn't just for us to visualize and enjoy. I think it was meant for us to be able to manifest it. The same way things were created around, we have that ability to create. And so I want you to consider attacking and taking action. And then the last one, why, is yield. So often we come across barriers and we think that the barriers tell us to stop, when in reality, yield just means to slow down, right? When you see a yellow light, either you're slowing down or you're preparing for this reality that there's a red light that will soon come. So if you need to yield, even as you get on the highway, you're letting something go by in order to merge in safely. So yielding doesn't mean stop. And this is where we get confused. Things come up, issues come up that were not planned, and we have to kind of readjust and rethink our ways of proceeding. Yielding doesn't mean stop. It just means allow that situation to pass by and then proceed. And so as you think of moving forward and getting that vision to manifest for yourself, I want you to think of staying. Okay. And so I want you to think of the word stay, and I want you to stay in the belief of what was given to you, told to you. This vision you've been given, and maybe it's because it's the Christmas season. As I was writing that note down, I thought of Mary and she getting told that she's going to give birth to the Messiah. How is a virgin going to have a baby if she ain't never known a man? If she hasn't been in, how can she take on this responsibility? Initially, there was probably some level of, are you sure you got the wrong girl? And she was told, no, you were selected to it. And she chose to believe and accept it. And she believed what was given to her, and she did. And so this is in the story of the birth of Jesus. I think it's an amazing depiction of sometimes disqualifying yourself for things that you think you're not equipped for, but you have been handpicked and selected. You don't need to be royalty. You don't need to have been, in a level of a class to be able to be called for certain things. If it's been impressed in your heart and in your spirit, it's because you were called for it. I want you to stay in the confidence of who has assigned you to your task. It's bigger than you. I think sometimes we think of what we want to do and we think of it for ourselves, but in reality, what we are called to do is meant to benefit those around us. Your gifts. So Dr. Stem's gift of wanting to encourage and motivate doesn't just leave her all happy all the time, but she's able to pass it on and have other people get encouraged and motivated to move forward on their dreams. It's never just for us. It's bigger than us. And I do believe that, maybe this is the systemic thinker in me. I do believe we're part of a bigger picture. And when each of us operate within our giftings, how amazing is it? Because nobody is jousting for position. Nobody is fighting and saying, I want the limelight on me, because everybody is functioning and staying within their lane. So I want you to stay in the confidence of who has assigned you to your task. I want you to stay in the knowledge that you were born for this. Listen, nobody can do you like you can do you. You are not in the wrong city. You are not in the wrong place. You are exactly where you need to be right this minute So no, you don't need to wait until you move to California. You don't need to wait until you move to New York. None of that needs to happen. This moment, where you are, who you are, is exactly who you need for this very moment. Okay, stay in that knowledge. I want you to stay in the moment you're in and understand that this season of your life is actually preparing you for the season you're trying to get to. So don't rush it. You want to get to that end place, but your training is happening right now to equip you for where you want to be. So if we don't stay in the moment, we will miss the training. And let me tell you something. Chances are, if you don't learn what you need to learn in this season, you're going to be in this season for a little longer than you want to be, right? So the idea of staying here, learning what you need to learn so you can be prepared for where you're going, that is key right now. So stay in the moment. And then lastly, stay in the essence of who you are. Listen, the person you were created for and the purpose you were created for is the anchor to allowing you to get into the spaces and the rooms you desire to be. You know, when you travel, they ask you for a passport so they can identify you before they let you into the country. And I'm trying to tell you that you are the ID for the rooms you're trying to get into. So taking on a false persona, trying to do it like somebody else who isn't you, isn't going to get you where you need to be. But your true person, your ID, your essence is key to getting you to the space that was designed for you. And dare I say, is waiting for you right now. Because some of us, you know, and it's no pressure. I think everything in our lives happen as they should. But it's the idea that there is this moment that is waiting for you to be able to step into your calling, to be able to move and shift other people's lives. So that there's a lot waiting on you, not the person you think you should be, but the person you are, okay? And so in order for you to believe that you have everything you need, it's about knowing where you belong and where you've come from. So when you have an unshakable belief in who you are and the mandate you carry, things around you or the lack of things don't sway, they wouldn't deter you from your goal. Your identity will grant you access into the rooms, the places you need to be. And when you get into that space, there won't be this fear of not being authentic, because you will have known that you have come in your true self and in your best self. So guys, don't leave this event today thinking you don't have what you need to get started. I just want you to promise yourself you will take that next step and move into what you know you're called to be. And I would love to follow up and hear from you guys in terms of how many people will be surprised at the number of things that just fell into place for you because you followed your gut and your intuition and did that thing you needed to do. And so Dr. Stem, as I hand off to you, there are two things I want to kind of gift people. And I will let you determine how that will happen. But two books that helped me was Bishop T.D. Jakes' book, Instinct, and his book, Soar. I don't know if this is backwards or if you can see it, but he wrote two books. So Instinct speaks to the idea that we are each instinctively set up to be able to act on what we're called to do. So animals naturally know how to behave. I think we each have our instinct in terms of our passions and our gifts. And so I'd like to give that to the person who may not know what their passion is or what their purpose is. So if there's anybody in this room that doesn't know what their passion is and trying to figure that out, that's a great book that I would like to have them have. And then the second one is for the person who does have a passion, but just doesn't know how to. I want you to soar, and I'd like to give you the book from T.D. Jakes, Soar. And I'd like you, Dr. Stem, to buy two books from you and add your books, Unstoppable, Living Free, and Fearless Life, right? I want you to give both of these people a copy of that book, plus one of the T.D. Jakes books that I will give them. I will buy them.
Wow.
Okay? So I want to give that as you figure this out, because the world needs them, and I want them to be able to move forward.
So here's the thing. Thank you so much, Sister Andrele. I've learned so much. But I'm so sad.
Why?
Because of all the people that we have here, we have over 40 people on this side. And I don't have two names. like I said, all these competitions, speakers, you are out.
Yes.
You are not counted. But there were two categories that was told. I haven't found my passion, or I know my passion. For two people to win 2 books each that will really take them to the next level from this moment that they leave here. And I'm running to the post office on Monday to mail everyone's book. The first thing before I start working, I'm mailing those books. I don't have anybody who wrote in the chat room, who wrote on their piece of paper and say, I don't have my passion, or I got my passion. I honestly don't. I don't have anyone to give those books. So
Dr. Stem, can I say that I don't have my passion? And
you know what? You are a speaker, Dr. Low Black. So no, you don't qualify.
But interestingly, Dr. Stem, you gifted me Instincts for Christmas a couple of years ago. So it was pleasing to hear that book being mentioned.
Yes, I remember. Well, that's my best friend, you all. You're going to hear him. He's closing out. You can hear he's stepping in, and he's going to be on the stage. You're going to hear him. That's Dr. Low Black. We talked about him at the beginning. So, yes, Angela Kamuka, my passion, but at times way to know. So she is getting the one that is sore because she knows her passion. So Miss Angela, you're getting the one that is the sore, plus you're also getting this because she just bought this one for you. You're getting those 2 books. And then next, I don't have my passion. Barbara, I don't know. She came in to win today. Barbara, you gonna get the book.
Nice.
You gonna get the book. So I'm also sending you that, but send me a second email for that, because I have your email for the other book that you want. So send me an email for this. Let me tell you something. The calling that we have, the passion that Dr. Reese was talking about, the what's inside of you that we just heard about, it doesn't come to those who don't go for it, to those who don't run for it, to those who don't take the opportunities. So for every time that you are listening, even on the radio or looking around, I beg you, open your eyes, your ears, your hearts, because there will lie your next connection, divine connection, your next, whatever course or, help that you need in order for you to achieve your purpose, your passions, and to live this gift that Andrele was talking about. You can't sleep on it. You can't wait for them to come on. I remember when I was on stage, one time I held an envelope and I said, does anybody have a business in before I said it, I remember one lady ran up and she said, I don't know what question you're going to ask, but yes, I do have a business. And she got an envelope. And at that time, I had $250 in that envelope. I'm like, ma'am, it's yours. But I say to everyone, if I had $1 million in this envelope and you were sitting and waiting for me to ask the next question, do you know that you would have, again, now you lost 250, but it could have been $1 million that you're losing. So I'm saying to all of you that, as we go through this here, I hope that one of the lessons that you learned is I'm not going to sit back. I know what's inside of me. I know I want to find my purpose and passion, or I have it on me already, but I'm going to make sure that I'm open to everything around me so that I can get my help.